What is something that instantly killed the crush you had on someone? Saw him at a family reunion. That's never ideal. Oh, it's more than ideal. My ex one time wanted me to hang out in the bathroom while he was showering so he could tell me about his day. After a few minutes the most god-awful smell to ever grace my nostrils appeared and I started coughing. In between trying to breathe and trying to ask what happened, he interrupted me and laughed saying sorry babe I couldn't wait any longer, and he showed me that he took a dump in the shower. I was pretty grossed out, but accidents happen I guess. Then he started smashing it with his foot so it would go down the drain. Oh don't worry babe, I do this all the time. I was done at that point. When I was in 7th I heard his friends saying go talk to her, go talk to her, so I was waiting there all excited. So, how much do you weigh? His friend in the background screamed anything but that. Other friend, mission failed. We'll get M next time. She told me all about her fantastic exciting life, but the more I got to know her, the more holes I notices in her tales. Turned out she was just an adept pathological liar, and I literally didn't know her at all. The girl she had painted a picture of across 3 weeks and multiple dates was entirely fictional. The magic died when I asked about a small inconsistency, giving her the benefit of the doubt, and she blew up at me, turned everything I had told her about my life into an attack on my character, and then acted as if she said it for my benefit. All that just to deflect from my question. I genuinely wonder how do people like these are able to get through life. Formula here. Not easily. We tend to have been bullied, don't know how to cope and want to just fit in for a brief moment, no matter how fleeting. On our first date, he screamed at the waitress for taking too long, only about 5 minutes, plus they were busy, to bring out our dessert after we ordered. She kept apologizing, even though she did nothing wrong, but he kept going on and on until she offered to comp our meal. As soon as she walked away he gave me the douchiest smile and said see that, with me, you'll always eat for free. I left what would have been the total for my meal plus 20% as a tip for her when he wasn't looking. I was totally planning on a second date right up until that moment. Glad I dodged that one. Edit. First and only date. Never saw him again. Didn't call him out on it because social anxiety, and he was my ride home. I just can't believe anybody would think that behavior makes them look attractive. There's somebody for everyone. I hope they don't find each other. He'll go out on a date in the future, go through his same screaming fit, and he'll say the same thing. With me, you'll always eat for free. And that woman, with love, and yes, a small tear in her eye, leans in and says, I was just about to ask to speak to the manager. She casually mentioned how many guys she has dated to get free perks. She called it breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that's exactly what it was. She would set up multiple dates on the same days, so she would be wined and dined. That happened to my buddy and a group of us discussed some of the warning signs, like only being available on a super specific day and time, but having a job and social life that leaves you free. So I met a pretty nice girl online, and seemed kinda into me too. When I asked her out, she immediately recommended a place she'd never been to before and only on Tuesday night at 5 PM. She said she was a freelance programmer and worked from home, so all warning signs checked. Anyway, I get there a bit early and grab a seat and ask the waiter to bring me split checks. Deal is done. She comes by about 10 minutes late and we talk, and she's not so bad, but she dominates the conversation and doesn't ask me any questions to get to know me. So she begins to order the biggest burger, upcharged to tater tots, and then she asked if it's okay to add avocado. Yay sure. Why are you checking with me? I don't mind. Okay. Close bracket. She eats about a mouthful and then asks for a to-go box. Cool. Waiter brings the checks. Her mouth is agape as I pay cash and stand up. I told her the conversation was nice and good luck with the rest of her evening. I tipped the waiter on the way out by waving hand. She admitted to making out with her stepdad every now and then like it was no big deal. I've seen that movie. Well, the first 20 minutes anyway. I was casually dating this guy, as in, we had only recently met and only been on a couple of dates back in college. He was educated, had a good job and his own place, polite, etc. Basically, no immediate red flags. One day, he wanted me to come over for a casual pizza night at his place. I had just finished up a 12+ hour long day due to my scheduling combination of non-stop classes and a part-time job. I was exhausted and did not feel like spending nearly an hour doing my hair and makeup to get all dolled up for such a casual date. I texted him something along the lines of, "I had a long day, can we keep it casual tonight? I hope you're okay with yoga pants and a hoodie." He responded with, "Actually, no, that's not okay. When you're spending time with me, you should always make a full effort to look your absolute best." Then, he started trying to tell me what to wear, something along the lines of, "Why don't you put on a pretty dress, make yourself look nice for me?" It was one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had. After he made the dress comment, I simply stopped responding. I never spoke to him again. He kept on texting me for a while, asking what was wrong and why I had just disappeared. I honestly don't think he realized what he said was so off-putting. Sounds a bit controlling. Good thing you walked. Lol a bit. I met who I thought was a sweet girl in college. One day we were walking around campus and talking. We talked about pets. She told me that she had a purebred English sheepdog that she had put down right before she left for college because she didn't want anybody else to have him. I told her off, walked away, and never spoke to her again. He picked his nose and wiped it on a door handle. People were watching. My dad did this on his first date with my mum. She took it that he had plenty of confidence. You are lucky to be alive. When I was in 8th grade, there was this quiet girl in one of my classes that I thought was really cute, but since she was so shy, I rarely talked to her. One day in class as I was doodling on one of my notebooks, she asked I was drawing, to which I replied it was a Van Halen logo. It was the mid-80s. She didn't know who that was, so when I explained it to her, her face got real grim, and she said, "That's devil's music. You're going to hell for listening to that noise." I laughed, but she was serious. I rarely ever spoke to her again after that day. She invited a friend over, overweight black nerdy guy, who lent her his PlayStation 2 and some games. When he left I was taken back by the gesture and she sarcastically said, "Yay, he loves me. So you're aware this guy has a crush on you. He actively tries to show his love and has made his feelings clear and you're just using that?" Dude was one of the most innocent souls I ever met. He probably did love her, but if that's how she treats feelings then I want no part of what she is. This one actually made me visibly angry. I was that dude at one point years ago. I won't say this was instant, but I started to figure out she really wants attention on her at all time. If people start talking about shit she has no idea about, she will just start talking out her ass to be center of conversation, and if people still don't care she will just leave the conversation and join another one where people will listen to mostly her. That is a big no-no about people I get involved with. I'm rather laid back person and probably could not handle spending significant time with someone like that. Sounds like my wife's friend. If the topic isn't her or something she can comment on, she'll just blurt out something to get the focus back on her. She's 43 and very single. I know a woman who does the same thing, but it's hilarious because her transition is always "that's okay." Example, group of people having some intense political debate or whatever she has no idea about. She blurts out "that's okay. Today there was a moose walking down Main Street downtown." There's always this weird 3 to 5 second pause where everyone tries to wrap their head around how a moose on Main Street could make it okay that we are getting involved in trade wars or whatever until someone continues the conversation as if she didn't say anything. He argued with the waiter because they didn't stock Cabernet, only Cabernet Sauvignon. He insisted just Cabernet was a thing. Now, I don't know any better myself, but I know I wouldn't get along with someone so convinced he's right that he'd argue with the man who literally serves wine for a living. Also, just Cabernet is definitely not a thing. Source, worked in the wine industry for 7 years. He kicked a dog out of his way and saw no problem with that. Unacceptable. Should have kicked him.